I failed my way to being my own boss. And now I can't imagine actually working for anybody else ever again because, like, I'm the boss. And then I hired someone to tell me about budgeting and, scheduling, and paid for that. And I told her how much money I could put on credit cards. And she said, you don't have enough time, you don't have enough money. And I was like, okay. And then I hired someone else to look at that budget, and they were like, oh my God, they really, really underestimated. You need way more money and time than they estimated. And so the facts were really clear from the people who've made films before. And then I started asking people for money. Could you invest in it? $10,000, which is a tax deduction for film investors. I reached out, I took a class about how do you pitch, and nobody offered me any money. So one of my friends, my dear, dear friend, Count Stovall,
he said, Tonya, I don't have $1 million to give you, but I have someone who can give you $1 million of advice.
I've only met this man once in my life. He and I and Count had lunch at the West Bank Cafe, but I've talked to him hundreds of times. He has mentored me through doing what I was born to do, making a movie. This is, for me, at the point that I am in my life, writing, producing, directing, acting, post-production, supervising a movie. It has me firing on all cylinders. I am failing every other day. I am getting things wrong. But let me tell you one thing. My first editor didn't work out. We thought we were going to have the film out by March. March came, I was firing the editor. The second, and I knew the first editor, that's how I picked him. The second editor, I asked, famous people I knew who had worked to give me an editor. Hired this person, 6 months. Totally didn't work out. At the end of that, I was like, I don't know how to do this. This film may never get made because I don't even know how to hire an editor. I don't know what this job requires. I don't know how to know if anybody does it. And there's this thing that happens in me is that I can be completely helpless and hopeless and giving up, but at the same time, going through the steps of doing the next thing that you need to do. I can occupy both spaces simultaneously. Pleasure. And to the extent that you can manage big sensation, that is the extent to which you can have big things in your life. And so at the end of that, I decided I was going to take someone's advice and hire a female editor. Women, if they don't think that they can do it, they generally say no. Men will say, yep, I can do it. And then they're going to try and they're going to fail and they're going to blame you for it. And then I asked someone who I hadn't spoken to in a long time and who hadn't even responded to messages I'd sent them for a couple of years. And I asked them if they knew a woman of color editor. And they got back to me to amazement and named a filmmaker that they had met at the Venice Berlinale. And I went online and I looked up her work and I watched her first film. And I was blown away, so much so that I went and I watched all of her films. And I was like, this woman is a genius. This woman is like, oh my God, there's no way I could afford her. There's no way I could have her. Oh my God. But we reached out to her and she got back to us. And so I interviewed in one day. I did like 10 hours of interviewing editors. I was, really hoping for the South Korean editor because I love South Korean storytelling. And she said, yes. And then everybody needed to work in Avid. And then she came back to me and said now she needed to work in Final Cut 7. And so therefore she was pulling out. And on that day, I hit bottom. I just was like, I'm an empty nester. I don't have a relationship. This movie has been my love, my life, my heart, my everything, and it is not going to happen. And I remember laying in the bed that day and just thinking, okay, God, you can take me. I mean, it's a pandemic. I don't have any purpose. Like, I can't go work for other people. I wear them out. And this thing working for myself, I'm failing at. And by the end of maybe that day, I had agreed to some terms she wanted, and she was yes. When I agreed to do this, and my producers were like, no, bad choice, there was just this clarity in me about it. And I was also struggling with how COVID was being managed in the States and people not wearing masks, and I was wearing masks and gloves. And when I looked at how Seoul, Korea was handling COVID, I was like, I'm safer over there. Not only am I going to work with this editor, I'm going to Korea to work with her. And that's where I'm doing this from. I'm in Korea. I have to tell you that my editor and I have done in 2 weeks more than was accomplished in 9 months with 3 other editors. I am doing what I was meant to do. I think I was raised to be a tool, as most of us Black people of a certain generation were. I was raised to be a successful tool, but I was definitely raised to be a tool. And in my 50 years as an actor, I would get in the room and I would just see every single aspect of the play and how everything could be better, and then I would be bringing that to the room, and I just assumed everybody thought like that. And when you're in the room with George Wolf's and Tony Kushner's and Larry Kramer's, those people can hear that and it doesn't intimidate them or accept them. But when you're in the room with lesser people or new people, that is intimidating and it's upsetting and it feels like you're being oppositional. And, you know, I'm just doing what my mind does. I can't stop my mind from seeing how good something could be. You know, I can't bring my mind down to the limits of your imagination. And so instead I look back and I go, wow, I probably made a lot of people miserable trying to get them to make the piece that I could see that it could be when they had every right to make the piece that they wanted to make. So right now as a filmmaker, as a storyteller, giving people the opportunity to work, to create something that's going to last forever, and also giving myself the opportunity to stretch and fail and grow and get better, because my motto is, brilliance lies in the moment that might not work. And so if I'm not failing, I'm not trying hard enough. And I'd say that to you too. The most successful people in the world are the ones who have failed the most. So get out there and fail and start bringing things into the universe that never existed before, things that you see in your heart. You dream it, it's for you to have. I believe it, I know it. And yeah, I failed my way to being my own boss. And now I can't imagine actually working for anybody else ever again because, like, I'm the boss. Everybody gets to hate me, but the buck stops with me. This may be the only time in my life, unless I can continue to raise money to make films, that nobody else can say no. They can disagree with me, they cannot like it, but I get to follow the clarity of my vision and execute that. And you know what? If I fail at that, so be it. Because I also know that your instincts are always right for you. And if you live and follow the desires that were put on your heart, it's for you to have. And whatever twists and turns and stumbles and falls along the way, it's all part of the process. It is all designed to grow you and carve you and shape you into reaching your highest potential. I'm Tonya Pinkins. Follow Red Pill Movie 2020, and I hope you are there to see it and will continue to support me in doing this creative work that I love.
We are a majority in this country, and we're going to win the election.
Do you know what the red pill is? A red pill is someone who infiltrates a group and then destroys them from the inside. This place is spooky.
Some people like to live dangerously.
Cass, why are you so jumpy tonight? You know what, guys? I'm going to go back tomorrow.
Did you hear about the creature woman that attacked a father and son hunting down here?
I don't see the case. This place creeps me out.
I think we should call the sheriff's office.
The only people missing or dead are brown people?
They're after all of us.
What do we do, Amelia?
We die. But we take some of them with us.